At this point, I'd like to invite the best man to come and join that, of course, is Patrick.
On behalf of Jim and Sarah, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome and thank you all for coming. A lot of you have traveled a far distance to be here, and I know it means a lot to them to have every one of you here to share this special day with them. So on behalf of Jim and Sarah, thank you for coming. I'd also like to say how honored I was to be asked to be the best man. It's both a privilege and a pleasure to stand by Jim's side on the happiest day of his life. Jim and I have known each other since Jim had a full head of hair. Obviously, it's been a long time. Growing up, we spent a lot of time together, and I'd say I got a lot of my personality and sense of humor from Jim. So if the speech is terrible and not funny when we were in school, we used to live on opposite edges of the school district. And I lived 1 mile one way, or he lived 1 mile another way. We probably would have never met each other. And I've often thought about how thankful and lucky I am that we went to the same school and became lifelong friends. I'd say one of Jim's traits that I like so much is he always puts those around him above himself. One quick example of that is a ski trip we took with a group of guys. I was skiing down the hill, I had a little fall. I got to the end, I thought everyone was going to be making fun of me. I looked back up the hill. There was Jim, head over heels, skis flying everywhere, bullets flying in other directions, snow flying everywhere. The group of guys didn't stop talking about that for years. So, thanks for taking the heat off me. After high school, wherever I was living, I'd say the best memories I had were when Jim would come to visit or we'd take a trip somewhere. Some of our favorite trips were always the Notre Dame football games. And if I made the trip to Notre Dame and Jim wasn't able to go, it just wasn't the same for me. So when he joined the Navy, and I didn't get to see him that often, it was a little rough for me. Based on the correspondence I got from basic training, it wasn't the funnest time of his life either. I know a few years later, it was getting a little better when he was on the Theodore Roosevelt. The first complaint he had about that was, since Teddy himself was such a sharp dresser, he had to line up the buttons in his shirt with his belt buckle. I thought that was just kind of part of getting dressed, but apparently Jim didn't like that. Extra effort into getting dressed. What an impact Sarah has made. I'm sure a lot of you saw the engagement pictures where Jim wore 23 different wardrobes for one photo session. I noticed the buttons were lined up. Since we don't live that close together anymore, most of our correspondence are, on the phone or the internet. And if we're not talking about Notre Dame football, I can tell he's really excited to marry Sarah and spend the rest of his life with you. And I know he must really love you because he let you plan this wedding for the biggest Notre Dame game in the past 20 years. Growing up, Jim used to probably say that he was cursed with bad luck. I have one quick example, just like my opinion to Sarah, and 37 seconds left. Jim came to visit me once in Notre Dame. He finally got to go inside the locker room, and he was exuberant. And he just wanted to go down and take his picture in front of the play like a champion today. So he ran down the step, put his hand on the sign, reached his pocket to get his camera. He realized that his camera in the hotel. But I think all the bad luck that he thought he had was really just saving good luck for the time he was in there. So please join me in a toast to Jim and Sarah. May the luck of the average always be yours.
Eric.